Everyone, our latest big conversation here on the show. We're talking with St. Mary's Athletic Director Mike Matoso. Mike, thanks for being here.
Great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So the big news in water polo had everyone excited. They're still buzzing. In September, St. Mary's announcing the addition of a brand new aquatics program, especially men's and women's water polo. Since then, I want to ask, what's been the response? I'm sure you've heard from a lot of folks with a lot of energy.
Yeah, I mean, I this is my ninth year here. Um, I have to say, actually, of anything we've actually probably put out, without question, this was the most positive response we've had to any release that we've put out, and not just here on campus, but the local community, but also really throughout the country. We've had people reach out to us, excited the fact that we are adding both men's and women's water polo next fall.
As you know, that La Marinda area is such a aquatics haven. There are so many talented swimmers and water polo players. I think people would often say, "Hey, the St. Mary's have a team, or it'd be
Yeah.
awesome if they added one." When this news came out, one of your quotes, I think, kind of addressed one of the challenges in college sports. Some universities and colleges are having to get rid of teams. We're going the other direction. We're adding teams. What made you want to add these programs at this point in time?
Well, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, it's last year, I think, like every athletic director in the country, dealing with the house settlement, you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what's this thing gonna look like? Even for our current, we have 18 teams right now, so it's even at that point like, okay, what does that look like? And how do you manage that? And then it's funny, we hired a new president, Roger Thompson, that came in. He started not He's been here since July of 24. And it's funny, when he got here was the big, OMPA swim event in July, which basically takes over, all of La Marinda. And he's like, "What is this thing?" So I explained to him, I'm like, "Listen, like, swimming and water polo are huge here." And so as we kind of got into this last year, he approached me and said, "Well, what do you think about adding sports?" And I was like, "Well, like, hold on here. Like, I got to figure out what I'm doing with my own sports, that I currently have." But as we really started looking at it and talking about it, we realized how much sense it did make to add those programs to the community, and to our athletic department, and also the college in general. And and then going out and talking to people, I think we all got really excited as well, listening to the passion of people in the area and realizing that, like, okay, this is gonna make a big impact, not only on campus, but within in the local community. I mean, I'll be we're the country club not too far away. I mean, I've been stopped, 10, 15 times on people coming up to me and saying, "Oh my God, this is so great. We're so excited that you're doing it." And I think it just made sense to look at making this move at this time. So yeah, it's been a really, really positive response. And, we took about 5 months to really go through the process of figuring out what it would look like, how we would do it, could we do it, and in the end, we all thought that it would be something really positive for the community.
We obviously have a water polo focused lens here on this program, but there have been some colleges in the general area. You look back over the last 10 years, San Jose State bringing back their men's team, Fresno State adding a women's water polo program. It's a sport where if there's the right people in place, you can get pretty good pretty fast. How
Yeah.
much did the competitive aspect factor into adding a new sport?
Well, and that was the thing. I told my president, I'm like, "Listen, if we're gonna do this, I want to be good. Like, we're not just gonna add this to add it." And we were able to figure out a lot of what to do with scholarships, and how to creatively do scholarships for both programs, which will be right around 10 scholarships per program. Which, again, I don't think a lot of programs are offering at this time.
That's a
Um,
substantial number. That's going to be a game changer.
yeah, yeah. So figuring that out was a huge piece. And once I kind of figured that part out, then I was like, okay, I think, again, I'm not, we've obviously, I think St. Mary's is obviously known very well for its men's basketball program. But we have a lot of other programs that have really taken off as well. I think we have a really good staff that are all capable of handling this, and really, I kind of have a philosophy as an athletic director of, listen, hire the right people to do the job, and really with everything, we're obviously not going to know, all the key things in all the programs that we manage and supervise on what's going to make a successful program, but I think we have a really good grasp on what it takes to be successful, and we do a really good job of hiring the right people for our positions to then give us kind of that information on, okay, what are the next steps and what do we need to do to have a really successful program. And I've worked again. I was at SC for 5 years, so was around USC water polo for that entire time, and saw also the excitement, of those big rivalry games with UCLA, and what a cool environment it could be on this campus. And I do think that those things will lend in to have a lot of community backing. And so yeah, so I think it took a little while to get all that straight, but in the end, it's really no different than any other sport we have. Like, hire good coaches and let them go and listen to them in terms of what they need to do to be successful.
You brought up men's basketball, and I think if you're a passing sports fan, that's probably what you know about St. Mary's, right?
Yeah.
Are the great runs of those men's basketball teams over the years. And I doubt this is something that hasn't dawned on you and the staff before, but trying to figure out, well, what is the secret sauce of that program, and how do we apply it to all of our other teams? Staff consistency, I'm sure, is a piece. When you think about men's basketball there, what is it that they have done well or been able to do well that has led to their consistent success, and how do you potentially apply that to water polo?
Yeah, I think first of all, we really, Randy's done a really good job of just not worrying about what we don't have. And I think I could say that for a lot of our programs. I mean, you can, again, I've worked at Power Fives and I've worked at mid majors, and listen, at the end of the day, a facility's never won a game before. And, it comes down to hard work, being a really good coach. I think being a good person and having the right person that fits into this community, and really treats their players with a lot of respect. You don't. I mean, that program. It's kind of a crazy stat: 18 straight years in the postseason, and that's NIT NCAA tournament. There's 4 schools in the country that have done that. That's Michigan State, Kansas, Gonzaga, and St. Mary's. That's insane.
Yeah.
And you don't do that without being, like I said, a good person who really builds their students up and their student athletes up to be as good as they can possibly be. And so for me, really looking at obviously very qualified, head coaches, but also ones that fit in well to the mission of the college, as well as our, you can't coach, a lot of ways that you did 20 years ago. It just doesn't work anymore. So I think that's a key component. And obviously, having West Coast ties and being able to recruit really well, and being able to sell are components of what it takes to be successful. But yeah, like so. I mean, baseball, won the WCC championship last year. Softball, back-to-back championships. Our women's soccer program's right now just outside the top 25. So we've hired really good head coaches, and we let them run their programs. And I look at it as, hey, we're a resource here to help them figure out what they need to be successful at the most competitive level they can.
Speaking of hiring, I'm sure you've received a resume or two from some folks that
Yes.
might be interested in taking part in the program. From the announcement day that you'll be having these water polo teams, what's the journey like now? I imagine coaching staff is the next big piece, but kind of what's your timeline as you try to get the program ready for season 1?
Yeah, we're in middle of interviews right now. I mean, I think we'll be making an offer hopefully this week on the men's water polo side. We should have, I'm hoping by the end of this week, a pretty good idea on the women's side as well.
Oh, nice. Great.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And
I
is
mean, it's a
that
nice thing with being a small, again, a private school. Like, I mean, we can we can be pretty. We're pretty. I don't mess around with hires. Like I just go, and we've been able to use resources like John Abdu and reach out to other people and get their opinion on, just like we would with any other coaching search, to really get people's opinions on not only quality of coach but also on character as well.
And is your vision to have two different leaders for different programs? I
Yeah,
know in
two
some
different.
cases
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
someone coach
Yep.
both.
Men's and women's will be separate head coaches.
Excellent, excellent. Another key piece, right, is where to play. And I know that we've talked about this before we came on the air here, but a big initiative is to get a new aquatic facility built for this St. Mary's Aquatics program. Tell us more about that and what that process looks like, and then where you play in the meantime.
Yeah, so we're already starting. I love facilities. I love building. So this is something that's like really fun for me because I haven't ever developed an aquatic facility before. But um, really, we have a kind of a vision on the front of our campus with a short range golf facility, redoing our softball stadium. New, kind of renovating and rebuilding our tennis courts, and then also an aquatic center and a pickleball area, and kind of creating, kind of like, in a way, kind of your own country club on campus. Is kind of the vision that I have for it. So again, we've been working with several different designers that have done a lot of different pools, and we pretty much identified a space as well on campus on where we're going to build. We're kind of fine tuning that right now. So I think my goal is to hopefully have some conceptuals of what that looks like in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and have those conceptuals done probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, so we can start to go out and meet with donors and start going out and meeting with people and selling our vision. And in the meantime, we will be the Campo Lindo facility, just up the road near Campo Lindo High School, will be the facility that we use, and we'll also utilize, primarily all for water polo, though will be over at Campo Lindo. But like on the swim side, we'll utilize our rec center pool a little bit more.
Yeah, and for people that haven't been to the Soda Aquatic Center, I think sometimes people that don't maybe follow water polo as much think, wait, high school, some of these high school facilities are fantastic.
That's
Soda's
true.
a lot
The
of
crazy
different.
thing is, like I've been as you go through like some of these facilities, like I forget the name, but there's one down in Irvine. Like it's insane. Like it's wild. And obviously the facility at Mount Sac, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of big time facilities out there. So it's really, kind of going in. And again, if the site that we have is kind of down by our tennis courts, and it's like it's an amazing site right now. Like it is really a cool site. It's kind of our last area of development within the athletic department on an area that we've renovated the basketball arena. We're looking at doing a $14 million rugby soccer clubhouse starting next summer. We just completed our baseball stadium, so now we're kind of out in that front area. And it's funny, like with the idea of doing this, I was kind of like going back and forth on what this would look like. And then once we finalized it, I'm like, okay, now I know like what I'm going to do. Now I just got to figure out how it all kind of fits in there. So it's been kind of cool sitting with designers on, Google Earth, and you're overlaying how a pool kind of fits in there, and kind of how you move everything else around to make it all work. But again, it's kind of our vision too, is that you have all those other amenities that are kind of tied into it, and a a little cafe that's also down there, so that parents are there all day if they want to get good food, get a beer, whatever during the day. All that will be available. And again, I love when I build facilities. I try to like not look at them as just a facility and not just a match or a game. Like you try to make it an event. So what are things that would make it a really entertaining thing for people to come out and watch your matches and games.
And then this is also, right, a great chance to connect with the community, right? There's only so many hours the college might use this, an opportunity maybe for local clubs, teams, events, that sort of thing, to really kind of connect back with the St. Mary's campus.
Yeah, no, I mean, right now, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, kind of going back to my idea on the whole country club, like right now, if you look in this area, there's an 8-year wait list at Moraga Country Club. All the swim clubs in the area all have about 3-year wait lists. And so I think people are looking for this type of experience. And then when you talk with all the local water polo clubs, swim clubs, they're all like, we're fighting for pool time
Yeah.
every day, and having another facility that would be available to them would be huge. And so from our standpoint, it's really like this is going to be kind of a multi-use facility. It's going to be something that we're utilizing from 6 in the morning till 5 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock we're kind of turning this over to the local community to utilize it for youth development.
Exciting stuff on the way here with the St. Mary's water polo programs. Obviously the East Bay, that's largely Cal water polo territory. Is that like the
Yeah.
dream first matchup, or is that up to the coaches? Is it St.
I'll
Mary's
leave that.
Cal?
I'll leave
Is that
that
some
up to
other
the.
dream?
I'll leave that up to the coaches. So yeah. But again, I think the other thing you look at again with the house settlement is just it's not just the cutting of sports, but also the limitation of rosters. I think that's another thing right now that's kind of been kind of. And again, I would say this to the president of the NCAA. I have no idea why that makes any sense or why that was even included at all in this package. But I do think it has limited opportunities for student athletes in a variety of sports to participate at Division I athletics. So, again, I think we're kind of excited. And I think that's the thing we've heard from a lot of other universities of like just people that I know, like, this is really cool that you guys are doing this, and it is a great opportunity to allow some Olympic sports to continue to grow as they should.
No, it's a great chance for another outlet for athletes to play at what can quickly become high level competition. And as I'm sure others have told you, you will have zero problem filling rosters on
Yeah,
both the
yeah,
men's
yeah,
and women's
yeah.
side.
It's
So
my least that's my least concern right now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Mike Matoso, thanks so much for the time here. Exciting stuff at St. Mary's. Looking forward to those coach announcements. And otherwise, I'm sure we'll see you at a water polo match here very soon.
Awesome, great. Thanks for having me over. I really appreciate it.